Welcome back to our channel. Today we're exploring the immense power wielded by Mother Nature herself. We're recounting 10 remarkable instances when Mother Nature's fury was witnessed, leaving lasting impacts on landscapes, communities, and the human spirit. You're going to hear all from devastating hurricanes to cataclysmic earthquakes. These events serve as reminders of our planet's untamed forces. Let's begin our expedition through time and witness the raw power of nature. Number 1. Hurricane Katrina. Our first encounter with nature's unwielding might takes us back to the year 2005 when Hurricane Katrina struck the Gulf Coast of the United States. Originating as a tropical depression over the southeastern Bahamas, this cluster of thunderstorms rapidly evolved into a formidable hurricane. With winds reaching staggering speeds, Hurricane Katrina intensified into a Category 5 in the Gulf of Mexico before making landfall August 29, 2005 as a Category 3 hurricane. It unleashed its fury along the coast of Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama, leaving a path of massive destruction in its wake. The devastating impacts of Hurricane Katrina were excessive. The failure of levees in New Orleans resulted in flooding, with approximately 80% of the city submerged. The relentless winds and catastrophic storm surge overwhelmed the protective barriers, causing devastation and displacing hundreds of thousands of people from their homes. Tragically, Hurricane Katrina claimed the lives of over 1,390 individuals, making it one of the deadliest hurricanes in U.S. history. The city of New Orleans, in particular, bore the brunt of the storm's wrath and would forever bear the scars of this merciless tempest. Beyond the tragic loss of life and the displacement of countless individuals, Hurricane Katrina also wreaked havoc on the region's economy. The estimated cost of the hurricane's damage stood at a staggering $125 billion. Marking it as one of the costliest natural disasters in U.S. history. Entire communities were upended, infrastructure was destroyed, and the process of recovering and rebuilding would be arduous and lengthy. The impact of Hurricane Katrina serves as a stark reminder of the immense power of nature and the need for robust disaster preparedness and response measures in vulnerable regions. Number 2. The 2010 Haiti earthquake. Next, let's turn our attention to the year 2010 when Haiti, a resilient nation, was struck by a devastating earthquake of immense magnitude. The ground beneath their feet shook violently, reducing cities like Port-au-Prince and Jacmel to piles of rubble and shattering the lives of countless individuals. This catastrophic event served as a stark reminder of the frailty of human existence when faced with the full force of nature's fury. The earthquake unleashed its destructive power, causing major damage in Port-au-Prince and other cities in the region. Iconic structures that represented Haiti's history and identity, such as the Presidential Palace, the National Assembly Building, the Port-au-Prince Cathedral, and the main jail, were either severely damaged or completely leveled. The death toll estimates ranged from 100,000 to approximately 160,000 people, with some discrepancies in the exact figures. The scale of devastation was staggering, with around 250,000 residences and 30,000 commercial buildings collapsing or suffering severe damage. The earthquake had a profound impact on the lives of an estimated 3 million people. In response to urgent appeals for humanitarian aid, numerous countries stepped forward, providing financial assistance and deploying rescue teams, medical professionals, engineers, and support staff. However, the extent of the damage posed significant challenges to relief efforts. The communication systems, transportation infrastructure, hospitals, and electrical networks were severely compromised, impeding rescue operations and delivering of aid. The overwhelmed morgues in Port-au-Prince struggled themselves to cope with the sheer number of casualties, necessitating the use of mass graves for burials. This earthquake occurred around the Enriquillo Plantain Garden Fault System and lasted for 35 seconds. Despite its short duration, its shallow nature resulted in more intense shaking and widespread devastation compared to earthquakes of similar magnitude. A series of aftershocks followed the main quake, with magnitude ranging from 4.2 to 5.9. On January 20th, the most powerful aftershock, measuring a magnitude 5.9, further compounded the already dire situation faced by the resilient people of Haiti. Number 3. Mount St. Helens eruption. The eruption of Mount St. Helens in 1980 was a catastrophic event that forever changed the landscape of Washington state. The eruption began with a series of volcanic explosions and pyroclastic flows in March, escalating to a major explosive eruption May 18th. With a volcanic explosivity index of 5, it was the most disastrous volcanic eruption in the United States history at the time. The eruption resulted in the collapse of the north face of the mountain, triggering a massive landslide and releasing a powerful mix of molten rock, gas, and steam. An eruption column reached 80,000 feet into the atmosphere, depositing ash over 11 of the U.S. states and causing substantial damage. Tragically, the eruption claimed the lives of approximately 57 people, including notable individuals such as Harry R. Truman, Reed Blackburn, and David Johnston. It also destroyed 200 houses, 47 bridges, 15 miles of railway, and 185 miles of highways. The economic impact was devastating, with over $1 billion in damages and extensive losses in timber and agricultural industries. The eruption left Mount St. Helens with a crater on its north side and reduced its height by about 1,300 feet. The environmental impact was significant as well. The eruption caused the destruction of millions of board feet of timber, the loss of agricultural crops, and the death of millions of salmon fingerlings. The eruption served as a stark reminder of the immense power and unpredictability of volcanic activity. It has contributed to advancements in volcanic monitoring and hazard mitigation, with ongoing monitoring efforts in place to protect surrounding communities from potential future eruptions. Number 4. Japan earthquake and tsunami. Now we turn our attention to the year 2011. On March 11, 2011, Japan experienced a massive magnitude 9.1 earthquake off the northeast coast of Honshu on the Japan Trench. Within 30 minutes, a powerful tsunami generated by the earthquake struck the coast, breaching seawalls and causing widespread destruction. The event, known as the Great East Japan Earthquake and Tsunami, or the 2001 Tohoku earthquake and tsunami, resulted in the tragic loss of over 18,000 lives, including many victims who were never recovered. It was the largest earthquake recorded in Japan and the third largest in the world since 1990. The earthquake occurred due to thrust faulting along the subduction zone plate boundary between the Pacific and North American plates. This region is known for its high seismic activity and history of generating tsunamis, including devastating events in 1611, 1896, and 1933. The 2011 tsunami reached a maximum wave height of nearly 40 meters, 130 feet, in the Iwate Prefecture, affecting a 2,000-kilometer, about a 1,200-mile stretch of Japan's Pacific coast. Furthermore, the tsunami caused a significant nuclear accident at the Fukushima reactors, leading to core meltdowns in all 3 reactors within the first 3 days. The impact of the earthquake and tsunami was extensive. Over 123,000 houses were completely destroyed, and nearly 500,000 more suffered damage, with 98% of the damage attributed to the tsunami. The estimated cost of the disaster in Japan alone mounted to $220 billion US, making it the most expensive natural disaster in history. The effects of the tsunami were not limited to Japan, as coastal areas of over 25 Pacific Rim countries, Antarctica, and the west coast of the Atlantic Ocean and Brazil observed its impact. While there were minimal casualties outside of Japan, thanks to the Pacific Tsunami Warning System and national-level evacuation systems, the event highlighted the importance of preparedness and need for continued investment in warning and mitigation systems. In the aftermath of the tragedy, extensive data on tsunami wave forces and building performance were collected to enhance tsunami mitigation strategies and building codes. The disaster prompted significant advances in tsunami preparedness and highlighted the success of the Pacific Tsunami Warning System in saving lives. However, the event also emphasized the importance of ongoing efforts to improve the global exchange and management of data and science products for effective tsunami modeling, forecasting, and mitigation. Number 5. Hurricane Harvey. Next up, in August 2017, Hurricane Harvey, a devastating Category 4 hurricane, made landfall on the Gulf Coast of Texas. It was one of the most powerful hurricanes to hit the United States in decades. What made Harvey particularly destructive was the unprecedented amount of rainfall that it brought, earning it the title of the wettest storm system on record. Harvey lingered over Texas for several days, resulting in record-breaking flooding, especially in Houston, where some areas received approximately 50 inches of rain. The flooding had a catastrophic impact, displacing thousands of people and causing extensive damage to homes, businesses, and infrastructure throughout the affected region. Rapidly rising water levels led to numerous rescues of individuals stranded in their homes and vehicles. Harvey is regarded as one of the costliest natural disasters in U.S. history, with estimated damages exceeding $155 billion with a B. The storm's slow movement and prolonged periods of intense rainfall intensified the flooding and prolonged its impact. The immense devastation and placement of people necessitated massive response efforts, including evacuations, the establishment of shelters, and the provision of aid to those affected. The amount of rainfall brought by Hurricane Harvey was unprecedented. Some areas in Texas received approximately 50 inches, or over 4 feet, of rain during the storm itself. This extreme rainfall led to catastrophic and prolonged flooding, making Harvey one of, if not the most, extreme rainfall events in U.S. history. Number 6. Australian bushfires. Continue our list. Next is the 2019-2020 Australian bushfire season, known as Black Summer. It was one of the most intense and catastrophic fire seasons in Australia's history. It was characterized by its unprecedented intensity, size, and duration, earning the label of a megafire by the media. The fire started in June 2019 due to dry conditions and early fires in central Queensland, and they burned an estimated 24.3 million hectares, destroying over 3,000 buildings and claiming at least 34 lives. The impact extended beyond human casualties, with over 400 deaths attributed to bushfire smoke. The fires had far-reaching consequences, affecting wildlife and the environment. The smoke from the fires caused hazardous air quality levels across southern and eastern states, and it even traveled thousands of kilometers across the South Pacific Ocean, impacting weather conditions in other continents. The fires resulted in the loss of billions of terrestrial vertebrates, including endangered species facing possible extinction. The economic toll was significant, with the cost of dealing with the fires expected to exceed previous fire disasters, causing billions of dollars in property damage and economic losses. The tourism sector also suffered a $1 billion decline in revenue. The bushfire season sparked debates about its underlying causes, particularly the role of fire management practices in climate change. The crisis attracted international attention, and political figures faced scrutiny for their responses. Firefighting efforts involved a massive mobilization of resources from across Australian and international assistance from countries like Canada, New Zealand, Singapore, and the United States. Tragically, there were accidents during firefighting operations that resulted in the loss of firefighters and crew members. Number 7. Nepal earthquake. Now we have the Nepal earthquake of 2015. This happens to be a severe earthquake near the city of Kathmandu in central Nepal on the 25th of April 2015. With a magnitude of 7.8, the earthquake resulted in the deaths of approximately 9,000 people, injuring many thousands more, and caused extensive damage to over 600,000 structures in Kathmandu and nearby towns. The tremors were felt through the central and eastern parts of Nepal, parts of northern India, northwest Bangladesh, and the plateau of Tibet in western Bhutan. Aftershocks, including a magnitude 7.3 quake on May 12th, further impacted the region. The earthquake was caused by thrust faulting in the Yarlung-Saturn zone, where the Eurasian tectonic plate and the Indian section of the Indo-Australian plate meet. The release of the compressional pressure between these plates, which subducts beneath the Eurasian plate, led to the seismic activity. The Himalayan region, although seismically active, had not experienced a large earthquake since 1988. The 2015 earthquake was the most devastating in recent history, with the death toll reaching approximately 9,000, leaving nearly 16,800 injured. The event also displaced around 2.8 million people and affected more than 8 million individuals in Nepal and neighboring countries. The earthquake caused significant devastation, including the collapse of ancient temples, destruction of homes, and triggering of landslides. The city of Kathmandu was severely affected, with iconic structures like the Leju Temple and the 9-story Dharahara Tower reduced to rubble. The disaster also resulted in an avalanche on Mount Everest, claiming the lives of at least 19 climbers and stranding many others. The total damage estimates ranged from 5 billion to 10 billion. The Nepal earthquake of 2015 highlighted the vulnerability of the region to seismic hazards and the urgent need for disaster preparedness and infrastructure resilience. The Nepalese people, along with their international aid and rescue teams, worked tirelessly to aid, rebuild communities, and restore the rich cultural heritage that was impacted by the earthquake. Number 8. Superstorm Sandy. Our exploration now takes us to the year 2012, when Hurricane Sandy, one of the most destructive hurricanes in history, struck the northeastern United States with its unrelenting force. After initially impacting the Caribbean and claiming the lives of 75 people there, Sandy continued its path northward, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. As it approached the east coast of the US, Sandy evolved into a massive storm system that exceeded 900 miles in diameter, earning it the moniker Superstorm Sandy. It generated record-breaking waves in the western Atlantic, leading to catastrophic storm surges and flooding in coastal areas of New York and New Jersey. The storm's impact stretched over an extensive 800-mile span from the East Coast to the Great Lakes region, making it an unprecedented weather event. Hurricane Sandy resulted in approximately 233 deaths in 8 countries, with the majority of the fatalities occurring in the United States. It caused an estimated $70.2 billion in damage in the United States alone, making it the second costliest hurricane in the nation's history, surpassed only by Hurricane Katrina. Millions of people lost power due to the storm, with some areas experiencing extensive outages lasting for days. The storm's impact on transportation and infrastructure was so significant that the New York Stock Exchange made the unprecedented decision to shut down trading for 2 consecutive days, October 29 and 30, 2012, due to the concerns about safety and the storm's effects. Hurricane Sandy developed from a tropical wave over warm waters near the coast of Nicaragua, October 22, 2012. It rapidly intensified into a tropical cyclone, eventually becoming a Category 1 hurricane with winds stronger than 74 miles per hour. Sandy first made landfall in Jamaica as a Category 1 hurricane October 24, 2012, before moving across Cuba, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, and the Bahamas. In the United States, it made landfall October 29, 2012, in the southern part of New Jersey near Atlantic City. Its devastating effects were felt in states such as New York, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, and left a lasting impact on densely populated regions. The destructive power of Hurricane Sandy and its far-reaching consequences served as a stark reminder of the vulnerability of coastal communities and the urgent need for effective disaster preparedness and mitigation efforts in the face of nature's fury. Number 9. The Cyclone Idai. Next, we have the Cyclone Idai, a destructive tropical cyclone struck at Mozambique, Zimbabwe, and in Malawi in March 2019, causing widespread devastation. It made landfall near Beira City in Mozambique as a Category 2 storm, bringing heavy rain, strong winds, and flash flooding. The cyclone resulted in the loss of hundreds of lives, massive destruction of property and crops, and catastrophic flooding. Less than 6 weeks later, Cyclone Kenneth further impacted northern Mozambique. The cyclones were among the top 5 worst storms ever recorded in Mozambique, affecting close to 2.2 million people across 3 countries. These events highlighted the urgent need for global solidarity and support in the face of climate-related challenges. Cyclone Idai originated from a tropical depression off the coast of Mozambique. After making landfall and weakening, it re-emerged into the Mozambique Channel and rapidly intensified. It reached peak intensity as an intense tropical cyclone before weakening as it approached the coast. Idai made its second landfall near Beira, causing severe flooding in Madagascar, Mozambique, Malawi, and Zimbabwe. The cyclone resulted in the loss of 1,500 lives, making it the deadliest tropical storm recorded in the southwest Indian Ocean basin and the second deadliest in the southern hemisphere. The impact of Cyclone Idai worsened the already challenging conditions for Southeast African farmers, who had been experiencing years of drought and occasional heavy rains. The storm exacerbated flood insecurity and high food prices in the region. The humanitarian crisis triggered by the cyclone overwhelmed rescue efforts and strained the capacity of local disaster management agencies. Thousands of people were displaced and placed in evacuation centers, often in poor conditions. The total damages caused by the cyclone were estimated to be around $3.3 billion, with infrastructure damages alone reaching $1 billion. The cyclone's aftermath underscored the need for improvement in disaster preparedness, response capabilities, and long-term strategies to address the impacts of climate change in the affected countries. 1976, Tangshan earthquake. We now reach our last one on our list. In 1976, the city of Tangshan in China experienced a devastating earthquake that left a lasting impact on the nation. On July 28th, the earthquake, with a magnitude of 7.5, struck Tangshan, located about 68 miles, 110 kilometers east of Beijing. The ground shook violently, reducing buildings to rubble and causing widespread destruction. The official death toll was reported around 242,000, although estimates suggest that it may have been as high as 655,000. Additionally, over 700,000 people were injured, and property damage was extensive, reaching as far as Beijing. Most fatalities occurred due to the collapse of unreinforced masonry homes where people were sleeping. The main shock occurred at 3:42 a.m. and had its epicenter in the southern part of Tangshan. The shaking was felt over 680 miles away in all directions. Later that day, a major aftershock with a magnitude of 7.1 struck the city Luangxi, located about 43 miles, 70 kilometers northeast of Tangshan, causing further damage and casualties. The earthquake revealed the existence of a previously unknown Tangshan fault, a northeasternly oriented striped slip fault in the Kangdong fault system near the Yanshan mountain belt. The main shock caused a 75-mile, 120-kilometer subsurface rupture, and surface faults appeared within the city. The earthquake had a profound impact on the region. An area of approximately 3,650 square miles, about 9,000 square kilometers, experienced severe or extreme shaking. In Tangshan, the intensity reached extreme levels. The shaking, lasting 14 to 16 seconds, caused liquefaction of the deep sandy soil, turning it into a fluid-like mass. Most structures in the affected area, including unreinforced houses and multi-story buildings, were destabilized and collapsed because they could not and were not anchored to bedrock. The earthquake also damaged infrastructure such as roads, rail lines, bridges, dams, and wells. Sand blows resulting from liquefaction disrupted wells and irrigation ditches and caused significant damage to crops in the southern part of Tangshan as well. Tangshan earthquake of 1976 stands as one of the deadliest natural disasters in recorded history. Its catastrophic impact on lives, infrastructure, and agriculture left deep scars on the collective memory of China. The events highlighted the importance of earthquake preparedness, building codes, and infrastructure, and resilience in seismic-prone areas. And there you have it, a riveting account of 10 instances where Mother Nature unleashed her fury upon the world. Join us next time as we continue to explore the captivating stories that shape our world. Until then, stay safe and remember to respect the awesome power of the natural world.